Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Tuesday, July 28th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Ball State game in 39 days, the game against Michigan in 123 days. We're sponsored today by our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. Day one of Big Ten Media Days is in the books here in Chicago, and which means we get to turn the page now to day two. Day two is when the Ohio State Buckeyes will be here. I'm joined by Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeInsider.com. And Tony, we need to talk about the four guys who are here for Ohio State and what we want to talk to those guys about, because it feels like we have not talked to Ryan Day in forever. I don't know if we've actually talked to Ryan Day since the spring game. Is that possibly maybe right? It feels like it's been forever since we saw him at summer camps, but gotten him in front of a microphone and all that. So what are you most interested to hear? Because we're at the point of the summer where it's like, boy, we've got a lot of questions. What are you most interested to hear about on Tuesday?
Well, I like to hear about the personnel. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I immediately want to dive into. And there'll be some big picture stuff, but I want to know where Ian Moore and Austin Seerveld are.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I saw Brett Bielema was asked about, do you know who your starting 22 are? He's like, about 21 of them. And I wonder, Ryan, do you know your starting 22? He's like, well, we probably got about 28 of them.
Uh-huh.
So it's it's a different kind of question.
Yeah, that's a good one, I think. And I don't know if they know for sure right now. And I don't know, even if they do know for sure, I don't know if they're going to say out loud that they know for sure. That is certainly a good one. Personnel questions are always kind of the things that people are most interested in this time of year. But it's always one of the things that coaches get a little weird about. Yeah. They don't want to be too honest with you at times.
You've got to ask things in certain ways. Mm-hmm. You almost have to ask about the person rather than the competition.
Yeah.
You're like, how is Austin? How is Ian Moore doing?
How's Austin enjoying his new spot at waiting for him to tip his hand? Is it right guard? Is it? We'll see. I'm fascinated to ask him about Kyle Whittingham, the new Michigan head coach, who he had a great relationship with when Kyle Whittingham was the Utah head coach. We saw them getting along really, really well at the Rose Bowl several years ago. I'm interested to ask him about that and the return of respect to the rivalry between these two teams, because it was one of those things we heard about for years and years and years, and all of a sudden the answer started to get a little different and they were sort of hedged in a different way. So be interested to see if that has changed at all after the changeover from Sherrone Moore to Kyle Whittingham. How about Julian Sayin, starting quarterback for Ohio State? This is a year where sometimes they have a real quarterback competition, sometimes they have a pretend quarterback competition. This year, there's no one's pretending. There's no real quarterback competition. What do you want to ask Julian Sayin?
Yeah, I saw a quote, and I'm sorry, I don't remember where it was from. One of his teammates talked about Julian as a leader and how he's this Cali cool guy.
Carson Hinsman.
Okay, yeah. And then when he gets fired up, he's like, it's fun to watch. So I want to be like, so what fires you up? Like, what gets you to that point? How sustainable is it? Do you need to hulk up to get there, or can you just stay on that level? And he gets criticized a lot for that demeanor. C.J. Stroud was the same way, and yet you want your quarterbacks to be even keel, except for when you want them to be fiery. Mm-hmm. And when do you want that? Well, only when things go right and you've made the right play. Don't be fiery all the time because you might cost us. Don't be even keel all the time. That's Tom, as Ryan Day says, that's the science of being a quarterback.
Yeah, I always think back to former Iowa quarterback Drew Tate, who was, when Iowa was winning, he was fiery. Yeah. When Iowa was losing, that meant he was a jerk. And it was the same stuff, and it was just, how do people around you interpret that?
That's eccentric, crazy, just depends on how rich you are,
exactly.
How much money you got.
Yeah, exactly. Jeremiah Smith. I feel like Jeremiah Smith he's a little bit like Denzel Burke, where I'm not sure if you know where I'm going with this, but where like Denzel Burke, you could ask Denzel Burke questions and you would get a real unfiltered answer. I feel like we're getting that a little bit with Jeremiah Smith now, where when he says something about a guy, you can usually take that to the bank. I'm kind of interested to know, who is Jeremiah Smith? Who has surprised Jeremiah Smith in a good way? Maybe this spring, maybe since this spring, because we have heard enough from him that I kind of feel like this is a little bit of a barometer of real truth here.
Yeah, revisit his comments about Earl Little and say, hey, are you willing to speak more now? And see if he is. But yeah, just seeing him blossom into the spokesman, because he's been around media for a long time, but he wasn't always like, the most effusive in his answers. Sometimes is, short or whatnot, but he's gotten more comfortable with that. So I'm interested just to see, like, how does he hold court? Then, hey, would you like to win the Biletnikoff? Like, do you think, is that something, your personal goals? What, what are you trying to do this year? And obviously we're trying to win a championship, that sort of thing. But the personal goals that he has, I'm interested to see. Also, I think I'll be asking about Texas and the way Texas has been able to handle him. How much does he think about that?
Yeah, and it feels like there's potentially a lot on the line for him in that Texas game. Last guy we got to talk about, everyone always wants to talk offense first, and now we're finally getting to defense. We're finally getting around to Jaylen McClain, and Jaylen McClain is finally not in Caleb Downs' shadow. What are you interested in asking him about?
Well, he talked about being in Caleb Downs' shadow in the past and how it was a great place to learn. And I do think that you're going to see a lot of Jaylen McClain as Caleb Downs this year. And so I'm interested to know how excited he is for this season and the role that he has. And the thing is, what do you think you're going to be doing? Well, I can't tell you that those sorts of things where I'd like to know, where are you going to be? And he'll, of course, say, I can't tell you that, but you just keep an eye out, because I'll be there, I'll be here, I'll be over there. I don't want to reveal too much, but just basically to see his excitement for what he's being asked to do this year.
Yeah, so that is Wednesday here at Big Ten Media Days. I think I said Tuesday. We've only been here 24 hours basically at this point, and man, these are long days at Big Ten Media Days, but man, we get a lot of great stuff. We've put some of it on YouTube, we put more of it on your podcast platform of choice, but we're going to have even more of it on the Insiders board at BuckeyeInsiders.com. That's where we are dumping a lot of stuff. We're cutting individual clips of interviews, some interesting storylines we've been talking about. We've put full press conferences up there, and that's all exclusive to our members at BuckeyeInsiders.com. So if you want access to all of that, you want access to all of our insights and analysis and all that kind of fun stuff about Ohio State, yes, but Michigan will be here on Thursday. There will be plenty to talk about there. There was plenty to talk about on Tuesday about USC and Illinois and Penn State, and a bunch of other stuff. You can find that all at BuckeyeInsiders.com. And thanks again to our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.